Boomer Sooner.
Upended balls loose, lay it around, picked up on the run. Cannon, he's to the 10, he's to the 5, touchdown!
Live at Rudy's Country Store and Barbecue. Welcome to the OU Huddle on the Sooner Sports Network from Learfield. Presented by Air Comfort Solutions, your total home solution for plumbing, heating, air conditioning, and electrical. Make the winning call today. Also brought to you by Riverwind Casino. Good times, great rewards. Bud Light, easy to drink, easy to enjoy. And by Rudy's Country Store and Barbecue, bringing you the best in real Texas barbecue. Now, here's the voice of the Sooners, Toby Rowland.
All right, hi, everybody. Welcome to Rudy's. It is a Monday night, and it is time for the Huddle. In fact, we got 2 hours of Sooner sports talk in front of us tonight. Next hour, basketball show. How about the basketball teams? The women up to number 10 this week, the men up to number 13 in the nation.
Yeah.
One of 3 Power 4 unbeaten teams remaining, Porter Moser's team. And we're going to talk to Armand Gates and Brock Morris next hour from the men's program, and, of course, Jenny Baranchek and a couple of her players from the women's program. But this hour is dedicated to football. We got a lot of stuff in front of us, but please help me welcome my co-hosts tonight, 2 of the all-time greats in Sooner history, Gabe Eichert and Caleb Kelly. Everybody. Howdy, guys.
Yeah.
How we doing? How we doing, CK?
Great. You know,
Good.
got to watch a lot of good games this weekend.
Yeah.
Texas lost again. So, I mean, always going to love to talk
Yeah.
about that and throw that out there and how much we dislike them ugly boys in orange. But do enjoy watching them lose.
Yeah.
I can't, you know, you can call me a hater, call me what you want. I mean, it is what it is. I hate them. So, you
nice. Was it better that it was in such painful fashion?
Yeah, to the backup quarterback, and oh my God, you
Felt
missed
like they
2
were the better
field goals
team
and
for the majority of the game,
man.
and you hate to see it.
Yeah, they should have had a bigger lead at halftime. We're going to talk about some of those bowl games. College football playoff bracket is out. We got some portal talk. Signing day was this week, but we got to start off with our bowl game. The Sooners have their bowl matchup now. It has been announced, and Oklahoma's headed down to Cowtown. We're headed to Fort Worth December 27th for a showdown against the Navy Midshipmen in the Armed Forces Bowl. It'll be OU Navy, an 11 a.m. kickoff. Caleb, what do you think about the matchup?
Yeah, probably not what a lot of people expected at the beginning of the year. I think anytime as a defensive guy you play one of the military schools, get your shins ready, put your shin guards on,
Right.
and as a defensive guy, like just start saying your prayers. You make it through the game because oh my goodness, getting cut sucks, and that's all they do all day long. And
Triple option.
Yeah, not too excited on a defensive mindset for the guys. Offensive, who's going to step up? I mean, all kinds of guys in portal. I know we'll get to it later. Who's going to step up? But man. For my linebackers and D linemen, I'm saying prayers for you fellas because your shins are going to hurt. I played against Army. It's going to be bad. So, and then the practices leading up, oh, my God. Like, why are we cutting in practice, Coach? Like, yeah, we're going to see it, but you can't prepare for something like this. Like, you just got to go in and make it happen.
Sounds terrible.
Yes.
Yeah.
He sounds excited.
Yeah. We're going to
I
three more
think-
guys just went in the portal, by the way, after Caleb.
I'm one of those guys, hey, the season was what it was, and this is what's ahead of you. Let's embrace it.
Sure.
Playing Navy is cool. Playing the academies is cool. I was fortunate enough to play against Air Force. I didn't have a ton of fun during the game, but it was a very cool experience. And I think that the people in the building need to get these guys excited about the game.
Get your
Football.
head straight over there.
It is. I do think it is. It's great for OU fans. We were unsure of what bowl it was going to be, what the matchup was going to be. I think it being in Fort Worth is easy on a lot of OU fans to make the trip to the game. There's
Please
a
come.
ton of OU fans in the DFW area.
Yeah.
So I expect Sooner Nation to show up for this one, and it's going to be fun. It's just really weird because Navy still has a game to play.
Yeah, that is bizarre, isn't it?
So we're going to get to watch them play Army this weekend, which will be fun, but I don't know if this is good news or bad news for you. They're a triple option team.
That's bad news, I can tell you right now.
But it's not the only thing they do.
Right.
Drew Cronick, their offensive coordinator, has really added some layers to what they do offensively. For example, they scored 56 against Memphis earlier this year. They had 200 yards passing.
Yeah, unheard of.
So they've got some concepts where they throw it around a little bit. They even spread you out a little bit.
Yeah.
Then they'll condense you and run all the triple option stuff that you're used to seeing from the academies. This is the most complex triple option attack I've ever seen.
I will say best case scenario, knowing that we got a few weeks to prepare for this.
Sure.
Because when you're playing them in the middle of the season and they do something totally different that you're not going to see the rest of the year, that's really hard to practice for. But it still is so different. You're going to be relying on a lot of man coverage because they have so many guys in the box that's why they can throw so many points. And yeah, I have seen some spread formations out of them as well. That's super unique.
It's shocking to see when you watch it on tape. You go, wait, what's going on here?
Yeah.
But it's not just the triple option tack, veer option, triple option, the stuff that you're used to seeing. There's a lot of different layers to this offense that Drew Cronick runs, and it's really fun to study. I'm glad I don't have to play against it, but it's a very interesting offensive attack that Navy's bringing to the table for this game.
We go behind enemy lines, brought to you by the Riverwind Casino. Good times, great rewards. Two common opponents for OU and Navy. Both played Tulane and both played Temple. Sooners beat Temple 51-3, Navy 38-11. Tulane, OU beat them 34-19. Navy lost that game to end the season, or their last game, not to end the season, 35-0. So that's a couple of nuggets to go by there. Their head coach is Brian Newberry, by the way. He's an Oklahoman. Grew up in Oklahoma City, Westmore High School product. And he said this week when he found out about the bowl matchup, he was excited, to say the least, to see the Sooners.
Growing up in Oklahoma, I was a huge Sooners fan growing up. And my first college football game was an Oklahoma game, 1985. Barry Switzer's the head coach. Jamel Holloway's the quarterback. Running the triple option. Saw him play against Colorado. Brian Bosworth was playing. Went on to win a national championship that year. And that was when I decided I wanted to play college football, going to that first game there. So I grew up a big-time Sooners fan. So it's great to be playing a storied program like Oklahoma.
He took that triple option from 1985, and now he's applied it to the Naval Academy. A couple of things that are neat. When we were leading up to this bowl announcement, the list of games that Oklahoma could fall in, it's entirely different now than we've become accustomed to because they're in the SEC. The Gasparilla Bowl, the Gator Bowl, these are all foreign to us other than having watched them on television. So that's kind of neat. Playing Navy, I agree with you, is cool. Anytime you play one of the service academies, the pomp and circumstance that goes along with it, the flyover should be amazing that day, I would imagine.
Gotta be.
Yeah, and it's weird because I'm sure you both experienced this. It's hard to build up any disdain as a fan base or as a player for the opponent because you respect so much what they do when the football game is over. At least that's what I found.
100%. I mean, respect all the way around. I mean, anytime you're playing an academy, they got to come in knowing that these people respect them for their sacrifice, especially a place like Oklahoma. I mean, Oklahoma, where we're singing courtesy of the red, white, and blue every third quarter. I mean, this is just a place that really appreciates all services. And I mean, personally, I was a guy that even played in the Army All-American game. And so just from the beginning, for me, even coming out of California, my grandfather served, my uncle served, my great uncle served, so many people that have served. It takes guys time to really appreciate that. And then you got to lock in when the game comes. And then I'm telling you, it'll wake you up every time you get cut. Like every time you get cut, you're like, that's where the disdain will come from. You start rubbing on your shins after a play, and you're like, dude,
I don't care if you knock that off.
So
please stop. No, I'm excited. I think that I can't wait to see everything that comes with the Armed Forces Bowl when you're playing Navy.
Yeah.
I have to assume there's a lot of cool things that happen around the game that honored, the armed forces in this country, and that should be really cool, and I think it's going to be a fun experience.
Yeah, will be 26 consecutive bowl appearance for the Sooners. That's the second longest streak in America. They trail only Georgia. We'll take a break. When we come back, we're talking about National Signing Day. That took place this past Wednesday. We'll take a look at the Sooners class that they inked next here on The Huddle. Stay with us.
The Huddle is brought to you by Rudy's Country Store and Barbecue, bringing you the best in real Texas barbecue. Walden Cleaners and Laundry, where the difference is quality. Riverwind Casino, good times, great rewards. Bud Light, easy to drink, easy to enjoy.
Ben Arbuckle, welcome to Norman.
Well, appreciate
but you've
it.
been here before.
Been here quite a few times, actually.
Really?
So, yeah, first actual time I was here was back in 2012. Oklahoma was playing Notre Dame. I was actually mine and my wife's first date.
Your first date with your wife was an OU game.
Was an OU game,
How does that
absolutely.
play out?
Well, I thought my wife was really pretty. She was a really cool person, okay? And I found out that she was a big Boomer Sooner fan, and so, I was just trying to make an impression and took her to the OU Notre Dame game. My entire life, Oklahoma's been at the pinnacle of college football and really college athletics as a whole, but college football for sure. Their brand goes, far and wide. Everyone knows them. You could not be from the States and you know what Oklahoma is. And so just the opportunity to be a part of it is something that I'm honored and very proud to be a part of.
What do you find is like the common theme whenever it comes to developing good quarterback play?
Yeah, I think it starts off with developing the confidence, right? You have to be the most confident player on the team. You have to be the most confident person in the building, okay? And so just giving that reassurance every day to those guys that they are incredible and that they are the leaders of this team and this program is something that goes a million miles whenever you talk about how they perform on the field. And so that's the big thing about it.
That's your new offensive coordinator, Ben Arbuckle, along with our Chris Blank. It was on this show a week ago that the news became official that Ben Arbuckle would be the new OC. And then we got to hear from him, Gabe, on Wednesday. Impressive.
Yeah, I'm very excited. I'm very excited about the hire. I've continued to study his offense and what they did at Washington State this season, and it's a lot of fun. I think the main thing, though, I understand that he's labeled as a guy from the air raid tree.
Correct.
They do a lot of things in the run game. A lot of really good things, all kinds of personnel groupings, zone running game, gap schemes, pin pull schemes, some man schemes where he spreads the defense out and just has some creative things. Ton of QB run game if they need to use it. I think this is a guy that, yes, he has air raid roots, but I think this is a guy that wants to run the football.
Yeah.
And as long as that's the case, I feel really, really good about it because the passing concepts, they're good. He likes to push the ball down the field, and he mentioned that the confidence for his quarterbacks is the most important. That's because he asks them to do a lot.
Yeah.
A lot of control at the line of scrimmage for the quarterback, a lot of decision-making in the run game, the RPO game, and then the drop-back pass game. He's really, really impressive.
Opening segment was brought to you by Community Coffee, the official brewed coffee of OU Athletics. Taste the difference family makes. National Signing Day has come and gone, the December version of it on Wednesday. Oklahoma put together a smaller than normal class of 20, but impressive nonetheless. I know, Gabe, you highlighted 3 guys that maybe you're most excited about.
You may be shocked that 2 of them are offensive linemen.
Not shocked at all. Not with you.
Well, Michael Fasusi was, he's the highest ranked guy in the class, 5-star.
That was the drama on Wednesday.
That was the drama, and there really was no drama when you think about it. He's just extremely physically gifted. He's like every young offensive lineman. He needs to work on his technique. He needs to get stronger. He needs to play with lower pads, but you just see the natural ability, his ability to move. These guys just don't grow on trees.
Yeah.
And he's a guy that you start looking at the offensive line situation. Could he factor in right away. And I can tell you this with 100% certainty. It does not matter how old you are. If you practice the best, you will play for Bill Bedenbaugh.
Yeah.
He does not care if you're a freshman. He does not care if you're a senior. If you do the things you're coached to do, you play with great technique, you know what you're doing out on the field, he has no problem putting a freshman on the field. None at all. I like Fojay a
Ryan
lot.
Fojay, yeah, the other tackle.
He's got a little ways to go just from, like, he's got to add weight. He's a little leaner than Fasusi, but Fojay is about as good as I've seen in pass protection for a high school kid.
Wow.
His technique, just how smooth he looks in his pass set, how balanced he is, the way that he uses his hands, it's really, really impressive. He kind of glides. He's got really nice footwork in pass protection. And if they can get some weight and some strength on him quickly, which that can happen very quickly for a guy like him, he may be a factor as well.
We're losing a defensive end from Weatherford and Ethan Downs this year, but picked up another one here in C.J. Nixon.
Athlete. You seen this guy's dad?
No.
Enormous.
Yeah, bigger than him.
He's hard to miss. I saw him on the sideline a couple
Does he have any
times this
eligibility
season.
left?
We could use him, but CJ's an athlete, and going to start him on the defensive side of the ball. Big, long, physical. You got to keep the best players in the state of Oklahoma in Oklahoma, and that's exactly what they did by landing CJ Nixon. I'm really interested to see what he becomes as a player. I'm interested to see how big he gets. Like, when you see his dad, it makes you wonder, okay, what can this guy's frame be? Yeah. So, big athletic humans.
CJ Nixon, too, big hooper.
Basketball guy.
I've known him for a long time, probably around 5 years or so before he was even getting recruited. And, I mean, he had the real hoop dreams, and he has the height for it. But, man, it took a lot of convincing that, you can make a lot more money playing football just with how unique his body is. And so super excited for that guy, too.
Anybody else in this signing class, Caleb, that jumped out at you?
Yeah, Man Robinson and Marcus Wimberly, the Arkansas kids, man, they played on the same team. Marcus Wimberly's just a guy that when you think about an Oklahoma boy and that turns into, or Arkansas boy that turns into an Oklahoma man and that represents everything you want, you just mentioned a guy like Ethan Downs. And this guy has his faith in front, and he's a coach's kid, and he just does everything the right way. And then freak athlete. Like, he's played quarterback this year, receiver, running back. He obviously plays safety. That's what we're bringing him in as. But, man, just so many gifts. And then Man Robinson, one of the top safeties in the entire country.
What a great nickname.
Yeah, Man.
Omarion
Man. And just another guy that didn't get to finish the season because of injury. But, man, that dude is a freak athlete. We talked about Deion Burks and guys like that have come in. Man's got the ability to do whatever he wants. If he locks in, he handles his business off the field and film study and the academics and all those things. Just get that guy to the field and let him go do what he needs to do.
That safety room is looking ridiculous right about now with Boganowski and Peyton
that Brandon
Bowen.
Hall guy knows what he's doing.
Knows what he's doing.
I am excited about a couple of there's only 2 receivers in the class.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
But
Elijah Thomas?
You look at Thomas, you look at Choice. I mean, how much fun is Elijah Thomas's highlight stuff
Gatorade
from
Player of the
Chakota?
Year.
I mean, he is absolutely fantastic to watch. And then I just don't understand how Emmanuel Choice isn't a 5-star kid. At that size, the way that he moves, maybe I'm missing something, but I hope I'm not, because he looks like he looks like the type of guy that has the type of build where if he gets with Emmett Jones and he's able to pick up on Arbuckle's system, like, he can be a factor right now just with how he looks physically.
I don't want to hurt any OU guys' feelings or anything, but like a Theo Weiss is what I think of when I see his film.
Take that.
And we just saw what he could do this year.
Yeah, nice catch, Theo.
A couple of other guys to spotlight. Trent Wilson, a defensive tackle, good-looking player. And they got a quarterback as well. Jeff New able to flip him at the 11th hour.
Trent Wilson looks about my age.
Yeah, he does.
I'm 34.
Yeah, he might look older than you,
He
actually.
might. And
He's a big boy.
Hey,
Boy,
it
you
has
look
been
30.
You look 30. It has been proven if you can play on the interior of the defensive line as a true freshman,
Yep.
they're going to play you.
Ask Jaden Jackson.
Yeah. So, hey, if he wants to come in and play right away, the
Freshman
opportunity.
All-American Jaden
That's
Jackson.
exactly right. The college football playoff bracket is set. The first 12-team bracket is out. We know it from Sunday, and the number 1 seed goes to the Oregon Ducks. Georgia gets number 2. The 3 seed Boise State, the 4 Arizona State. Okay, Caleb, we'll start with you. What do you like or not like here?
What I do not like is that the team with the best regular season schedule and record in the Oregon Ducks has the hardest path to the national championship. I personally don't think that makes sense. I see that a team like Texas, who has now lost to Georgia 2 times, of course I'm going to mention that, has something that I would say is a little bit easier than Indiana, Notre Dame, or even a SMU, Penn State. And I'm not saying Boise State is better than Arizona State or Texas, but I just don't like how I don't know. I'm in favor of the smaller teams got to play that first week, and then we got to reschedule or do something different. That's me personally.
What about you, Gabe?
Yeah, first of all, I love that it's 12 teams.
Right.
And you look at the first round matchups, like how much fun is this going to be?
All 4 of them look great.
But Boise State should not get a bye.
No.
Arizona State should not get a bye.
Heck no.
Disagree.
I think it will be. Will be readdressed because it's just strange. Like, wait, the number 9 team gets a bye?
Yeah, I like this, and I know I'm in the minority, but I think the conference championship games should mean something, and they mean something right now. If you win your conference championship,
Well, they would still mean something.
you've got an 80% chance of getting a bye. You're playing for something big here still, and it's fine that it doesn't. I think this is perfectly fine the way it is. Now, if you want to reseed after the first games,
Can I tell you my idea?
then I think that's not a bad idea.
So college football, the college football playoff, it's about college football, but it is an entertainment product.
Mm-hmm.
Correct.
I think the first round should take place. And I wouldn't mind if we go to 14 to where there's only 2 teams that get a bye like in the NFL. That wouldn't bother me either. But I think Oregon, after the first round games happen, I think Oregon should be able to pick their opponent. I think Oregon should.
Like they have a draft?
Yes, I think
Okay.
Oregon's staff should be able to go, we want Indiana if they upset Notre Dame.
Yeah.
I
How
think
about we
that
just
would make
reseed?
it.
Yeah,
We
I
could do
think the
that as well.
reseed's
Like
good.
they should be able to play the lowest seed. This format for Oregon, when you look at it, you go, that doesn't make a whole lot of sense.
Well,
Right.
it may not. You're also
Ohio
kind of,
State may be the most talented team in the country.
Yeah, but they just look like
I know.
garbage against Michigan. Or you're kind of a victim of the big brands of Ohio State and Tennessee there. They are good squads, but we'll see how it plays out. I like it. We'll see how it plays out after a year, and then maybe we got some adjustment to do. What I like most is that Alabama's not on that bracket. I think that's fantastic. All of the crying about them getting wronged, I'm here for all of it. I love it. If any team in the history of college football has had the benefit of the doubt more than anybody else, it's Alabama. So sit at home and enjoy it for a year.
Ooh.
Don't lose 3 games next time.
I don't come to Norman and get smoked.
Yeah.
I really wish South Carolina was in.
Yeah, me too.
I understand why they're not, but if you just think about that LSU loss, they were about to absolutely destroy LSU, and then Lenora Sellers got hurt. They were up, 17-0 when he went down with the ankle in that game. I can only imagine how happy a lot of teams are that are in the playoff that South Carolina or even like Ole Miss both aren't in that bracket.
Even more agonizing for South Carolina is that Clemson is in it, and they're not.
Yeah.
That's got to be driving Shane Beamer crazy. All right, we need a break. We're running a little long. When we come back, we'll talk some transfer portal. The portal opened today. We'll be back on the Huddle right after this.
Log on to Soonersports.com/kids for information about joining the Sooner Junior Kids Club presented by OG&E and brought to you in part by Orthodontics exclusively, Mathis Home, and Devon Energy. OU's 2024 football games are available on Exito's 96.5 FM in Oklahoma City and 101.5 FM El Patron in Tulsa, as well as on those stations' websites. Each OU Spanish broadcast will feature a 30-minute pregame show and a 15-minute postgame show. The best place to gear up for game day is shop.soonersports.com.
All right, welcome back to Rudy's, everybody. It's the Huddle. Let's talk a little portal. The transfer portal officially opened today. And, this is a little delicate because some guys are officially in. Some guys have kind of made an indication they're going to be in. So the transfer portal, who's in it, is not entirely known yet. But the indications are, anyway, that Jackson Arnold, Nick Anderson, Bauer Sharp, Kenai Walker, those are some of the big names. There's more than that, but those are some of the big names. Taco Mayo brings us what's on the menu. Gabe, anything so far as who's gotten into the portal that was surprising to you?
I was surprised by Bauer Sharp. And the main reason is I thought if he came back for another year that he could be a much better player than what he was this season. The main reason I was surprised is OU gave him a chance. He was a captain for several games. I mean, I think that, Caleb, you would agree, like if they would have done permanent captains, he would have been one of those guys.
Yeah.
And typically guys like that stay. So I know that he struggled at times. I know that he took a ton of criticism from this fan base. I get that. But I was a little surprised to see him enter the transfer portal. And I was honestly a little disappointed because I thought there was a lot of room for growth there for him as a tight end, and I thought that he'd be a much better player with another offseason, with the tight end mentality, and I thought he was going to be a good player for this team next year.
It is worth noting, just because you enter the portal doesn't mean you can't come out of the portal. Doesn't automatically mean you're going to play somewhere else next year. Usually that's the case. Anybody surprise you at all, Caleb?
I got a little bit too much information in my head, to be honest. And so
you want to pass?
I'll just say this, man. For whatever reason you're in the portal, I just hope that you have success going in the future, one. Sure. But then two, I just hope that, bridges aren't burned, no matter however you get into the portal. I just wish that, one, I wish it didn't even really exist personally. Or if it did, it was like grad transfers were free, and I just don't really like the portal in general because guys can jump around too much. But
it's open free agency. That's what college football is right now.
I mean, contracts don't mean contracts. Letters of intent and signing days and things, they don't mean anything. Like it shows you that you can do whatever you want, and that's not realistic to life. I personally believe you sign up for something, you got to see it through a lot of times.
Yeah.
And so I don't like that portion of it. But I mean, for everybody around, the schools, the coaches, the players, I hope that, because there's so many guys that are sitting in the portal during season, thousands of players just sitting there watching college football go. So you really have to get in the portal. It's hard. And so for people, I just wish they would, like fans in general, I wish they would have some patience, some kindness with it, really.
Well, and that's important to note because the key is, despite who you lose and how many guys you lose, you got to win the portal. It is a reality right now.
Yeah.
And so you got to bring in better players than go out. So let's talk about that. The Scoop brought to you by Brahms. Gabe, what are the needs? What does Oklahoma absolutely have to address in the portal here?
Line of scrimmage. There are several guys in the recruiting class that I think we're all very excited about, but we all know how important the 2025 season is. And you got to have some guys that can come and play at an extremely high level in the SEC. And I feel pretty good about a lot of the pieces that we've got back on both sides of the ball. Mm-hmm. But if you can bring in a couple dudes, you got to do what you got to do to bring in a couple dudes.
Right.
It's a line of scrimmage game.
O-line and D-line.
O-line and D-line.
Yeah.
I think that you look at both sides of the ball. If you can upgrade at a spot, you go do it. That's just how this thing works now.
I mean, obviously, quarterback situation.
Sure.
It's
that's
got to be
important.
addressed. But and we need to. I mean, we get a flip late day before signing day. We got Michael Hawkins. He's not in the portal or anything, and so we got guys that have a lot of potential. And Mike Hawkins is a guy that played in a really big game in Auburn away and won that game, and has played in Texas and been in environments and atmospheres. And so you got somebody there, but if you can go, I mean, look at Dylan, the guy that we lost to the portal last year, is now up for Heisman candidate. Is a Heisman candidate, almost was last year.
You look at that college football playoff 12-team bracket. A lot of the quarterbacks were at different schools last year.
Right, and so you go get experience. You go get an experienced guy out of the portal. I mean, it can be a benefit, specifically as the guy who touches the ball every single play. That's a big deal. And then, I mean, defensively, corners and the size, and you already mentioned all the D-line, but the size of these receivers and these players that we're playing against in the SEC, it's real. And I know Eli Bowen has done great being a shorter guy, but in general, man, these receivers they're going up against, it's not just Big 12 size.
I think that, college football is cutthroat now with how this thing works. As a staff, you got to tell some guys, hey, you no longer have a spot here, especially when you think about the roster limits and what the future of college football looks like. But you have to accumulate as much talent as possible.
Sure.
And there's a price tag that comes with that. And that is, unfortunately with the way that this thing works right now, like a lot of it is put on donors and the fan base to give to the collective, but that's just the system that we have, and all of that stuff matters right now. We as an entire fan base, we got to do what we got to do to try to get as much talent as we can.
Biggest news for me in the portal so far is the guys' names who aren't in the portal for Oklahoma, and I don't need to go over them, but there's about 10 guys that you're kind of just stay where you are.
Everyone's
please.
after Jaden Jackson.
Stay where
Everyone.
you are, please.
Yeah.
So we'll keep holding our breath, and you'll start to hear news in the coming days about guys that are choosing to play at Oklahoma, too. That'll be fun. We'll take a break. Heisman finalists have just been announced, and we'll go over championship weekend in college football next on The Huddle. Stay with us.
We want to thank all of our Sooner Radio Network affiliates across the state and region. Fans can check out Soonersports.com for an affiliate in your area. And if you're traveling outside the state of Oklahoma, you can listen to all the action on either SiriusXM Radio or download the Varsity Network app and listen free. Taco Mayo. Big appetite, bigger savings. Download and save today. Air Comfort Solutions, your total home solution for plumbing, heating, air conditioning, and electrical. Make the winning call today.
Welcome back, everybody, to Rudy's. By the way, this is our final show of 2024. After tonight, we'll take 3 weeks off and be back with you in early January, and hope everybody out there has a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. But no more Rudy's next week after tonight. All right, it's time for What's Your Beef, brought to you by Didier Ranch. We're going to slide that in the middle of the segment here. So let's start by taking a look at Championship Friday and Saturday in college football. Some great games out there. Really, of the major conferences, the only one that was lopsided was the Big 12. How impressive has Arizona State been? Picked last in the Big 12, and they won it in a cakewalk down in Arlington.
That was
A butt whooping.
that first quarter was really fun, super competitive. I was like, okay, we got a game, and then, whoa, scataboo. How much fun is that guy?
He's great. That's my. Let's say that's our What's Your Beef tonight, because he's not a Heisman finalist, and I get it, but he might be my favorite player to watch in college football. He's definitely got my favorite name to say in college football. Scataboo.
I want to see Scataboo and Sam Levitt against that Texas defense.
Could be a quarterfinal
in the second
matchup.
round. I desperately want to see that matchup.
Rest of those games, great. Georgia beats Texas in overtime. Oregon outscores Penn State. That was a shootout.
Yeah.
And then Clemson SMU. Great game. SMU rallies to tie it up. Then Clemson kicks a 56-yard walk-off game winner to get themselves into the playoff.
What did you think of Rhett Lashley not going for two there?
it didn't bother me at the time because they had the momentum, and it looks like we're going to overtime. And so I guess it's kind of the macho thing to do, and you're probably in at that point anyway. So I wasn't bothered either way. Is that your beef?
I didn't really have a beef because they had really dominated the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
And he had to look at it going, we're the better football team right now. Let's keep playing. I get that, but I'd had a few libations at a Christmas party, and that version of me wanted him to go for 2 real bad.
Yeah. It is a fun way to finish. That happened in high school football 2 or 3 times this weekend. State championship games. Similar situation. End of game. We tied it. We're going for the win. I love it. It worked out in the case of Bixby. Didn't work out for, who was it? Sulphur, I think, went for it and didn't get it. But what about championship weekend? Anything jump out at you?
Yeah, I mean, Arizona State running back Scatterboo, he is impressive. I watched the Boise State game too. Ashton Jeanty is the truth. Yeah. I mean, dude can tote the rock. A running back in this day and age that can run the ball the way that he can. I think the difference between them, I like the presser after where Scatterboo says, I'm the best running back in the country. Second best for sure. I mean, I'm just going to put that out there.
No, that's not what he said. He said,
I'm the best player.
He said, I'll stand on it.
Yeah, you're right.
I'm the best running back in the country. I said, okay, Mr.
Right.
Scatterboo.
And he just might not be watching Boise State film, is all I'd say.
No, I think he absolutely is. I think he feels
impressive.
the way that he feels.
he's impressive, but I don't know. I'd love to see Dylan have success. Personally, he's just such a great guy, great human, and so I had fun there. And again, I mean, I've said it like 3 or 4 times, but anytime Texas loses, I just find a bigger smile on my face.
Great joy.
Is there a big enough deal being made about Carson Beck's situation?
No, probably not.
That did not look good.
And we found out today that it just said they're evaluating options, but it sounds like
he's out.
Probably not going to be able to
elbow.
Play. Yeah,
elbow. Maybe like a UCL situation, like little Tommy John in his future.
Maybe.
But Gunnar Stockton, great quarterback name, but all of a sudden Georgia looks.
Florida State fans, by the way, are going, hey, we lost our quarterback and got kicked out last year.
Yeah.
You lost your quarterback and you're the 2 seed, which, it is something. But the 4 Heisman finalists have been announced. That happened just tonight. Dylan Gabriel from Oregon, Cam Ward from Miami, Ashton Jeanty from Boise State, and Travis Hunter of Colorado.
Who wins it?
Other than not having Scatterboo in there, did they get it right?
I think they did. Is there any big snub you can think of?
No, I can't think of a big one, no.
I like that they have 4 in the Heisman.
Okay.
As opposed to 3.
I wouldn't mind. It's different every year. I wouldn't mind just every year it being 5 guys. Like a starting 5.
Nobody in the SEC.
It was just that kind of year, right? You think about Jackson Dart. Well, they lost 3 games. You think about Carson Beck, what we all expected.
Jalen Milroe kind of faded.
Milroe faded in a big way. Mm-hmm. I mean, there really wasn't a guy in the SEC that was all that close even.
It's been a little bit of a reclamation of the western half of the United States this year, too, because Arizona State goes and wins the Big 12. Oregon goes and wins the Big 10. And then you look at the Heisman finalists here. Hunter from Colorado, Jeanty from Boise State, Gabriel from Oregon, and Cam Ward is from Miami, but he was at Washington State before that.
It's the revenge of the Pac-12.
It is the revenge of the Pac-12 this year.
Good for the Pac-12.
Who's going to win it?
Oh, it's Hunter. Come on.
Travis Hunter?
Yeah, I mean, it has to be, I think.
Yeah.
I want Jeanty to win it, though, personally.
Who's getting second? Ashton Jeanty?
Yeah. I think it's those 2 and then everybody else.
DG going to get 4th?
Yeah, probably.
Cam Ward's a really talented guy, but hey, Dylan Gabriel's got a Big 10 title.
Yeah, and he's fighting for a national championship.
Heisman finalist, #1 seed. Not too bad for our guy.
Take a break, wrap it up with bold predictions here on the Huddle when we come back.
Thank you to our cornerstone television partners, OU Health, OG&E, Fowler Auto Group, and Coca-Cola.
Welcome back to Rudy's final segment of the Huddle in 2024. We'll be back on January the 6th, but we always close out with our Air Comfort Solutions hot takes of the night. Usually these are predictions on the upcoming Oklahoma football game. That's a ways off. You could still do that if you want to make a prediction or a hot take for the Armed Forces Bowl, but it doesn't have to be that. I'm going to open it up. Anything you want. Caleb, we'll start with you tonight. What's your Air Comfort Solutions hot take?
You know, I don't really have anything amazing in my brain right now. Mm-hmm. I would like to just go and say, Dylan Gabriel and Oregon. I almost said OU, look, it's just have it. But Oregon wins the national championship. But I really would like to see somehow Boise State makes it to the national championship.
Ooh.
Just
wins
throws
it
everybody
or makes
off.
it to the game?
Makes it to the game.
Okay.
I don't know if that's even possible.
They need 2 wins.
Well, it's definitely possible.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
I'm
so
picking,
your hot take is you would like to see Boise State make it to the championship game.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. We'll go with that.
Thunder going to be the number 1 seed in the West.
Okay. We went
just for the record.
All
and
right.
then give me Penn State to play for a national title.
Really? Well, they do have a great draw.
Their draw's good, and in a weird way, even though the strength of their team got absolutely carved up by Oregon,
Yeah.
I feel like they walked away from the game feeling better about their team because they were able to produce so many explosive plays on offense.
Yeah, the offense got cranked.
Ran it all over them, threw it down the field. Drew Aller looked good. Tyler Warren is my favorite player in college football.
He's a beast.
In a weird way, they lost. It's another big game loss for James Franklin. But I think they walked into the building on Monday probably going, you know what, guys, we may be able to do this.
How about these? We didn't talk about this. How about these home games in the playoff, though, in Happy Valley and Notre Dame and Columbus and Austin?
First time Notre Dame's had a home game that wasn't by Fox or something, or
since
NBC.
1990.
Yeah, NBC.
I got 2. One, the OU Navy game will be played in an hour and a half. It'll be very fast. And number 2, Notre Dame will win the national championship.
Whoa!
That's my hot take.
I
think
hate
everybody's sleeping on the Irish. They lost to Northern Illinois. They're going to get hot and make a run to the title.
Uh-oh.
That's my hot take. Fellas,
that'd be pretty impressive.
I got booed. It's the first time I've ever been booed by the crowd here.
Yeah, nobody likes that.
Have a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year, fellas.
Merry
Good to see you. We'll see you in January. See you, bud. Stick around. We're talking basketball next on Sooner Sports Talk. Boomer Sooner, everybody.
The OU Huddle has been brought to you by Rudy's Country Store and Barbecue, bringing you the best in real Texas barbecue. Walden Cleaners and Laundry, where the difference is quality. And by Bud Light, easy to drink, easy to enjoy. The preceding has been a Learfield presentation on the Sooner Sports Network.